Hello, rodeo fans. Welcome back to the Short Round Podcast, the official podcast of the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association, Canadian Pro Rodeo Association. Jeez, still have that stampede fog hanging over me, Clay. But yeah, this 39th episode, we got a lot of information to hit you guys with. A lot of rodeo and happened between the last time we talked and now. So let's jump right into it, Clay. Canadian Cowboy Christmas is come and gone, but it's one of those things where I feel like Cowboy Christmas basically goes from June till the end of August nowadays with how many rodeos and how much money's available. But the unofficial, official Canadian Cowboy Christmas come and gone with the end of Pinoca Stampede.
That Canada Day weekend, these last couple years, we've added a few other rodeos that have
Hmm.
really beat that up to make it back to kind of the run it used to be back in the old days. You hear people talk. There used to be Meadow Lake and Swift
Yeah.
Current. Swift Current was around one of my first years and everything like that. But yeah, it got to where it kind of almost thinned out a little bit. Williams Lake's still not close, but it's uh, adding those other rodeos has just really made it to where, yeah, it's a big run for those Canadians, and there's a lot of money to be won and a lot of good things that can be done, even if Pinoca
Mhm.
doesn't work out.
Well, and that's the thing. You mentioned adding in like the Fort McLeods of the world and Sundry and Wainwright and all these, and even in Pinoca themselves, adding up bigger money. And you got TP Creek. Like it's just there's so much money to win in Pinoca, outside of Pinoca, and it was a great couple weeks of rodeo to watch for everyone. Let's jump right into it. So, in the bareback riding. I mean, we can't glance over the fact Rocker Steiner winning Pinoca $20,000 payday, great ride disco party, but someone who had the biggest impactful weekend in the Canadian standings was a former Canadian champion, Clint Lay.
Made a huge move, jumped 13 spots in the standings to get right into the heat of it. Made 13 grand out of the weekend. I mean, just a huge go there,
Mhm.
and yeah, it really jump started his season and made a great ride in the short round himself. Just showed what he can do, and he's always going to be a tough competitor come Edmonton.
Well, it's been kind of a slower start, I'd say maybe to Clint standards of the season. Like he was kind of was you'd see him chipping away, picking away here, ride there, but I think now we'll really start to see that guy roll, eh?
Absolutely. I mean, Clint, he knows what it takes to get to Edmonton. And then once he gets there, he's just always going to be a competitor that's going to be in the fight for the championship. At this stage, he's not rodeoing as hard as he has in the past. He's focusing on every bit of life and enjoying that as well. But when it comes time to nod his head, he's just going to be a competitor as
It's
much as
almost
anybody.
the Jake Vold approach towards the end of Jake's career. Just you have the talent, you know what you need to do and what you need to make to get there, and he'll be kind of in the fight the whole way through. Okay, moving to the steer wrestling, Clay. We have a couple guys we want to talk about here, but the biggest mover and shaker, I would say, even of the whole Cowboy Christmas is was Ryan Shuckberg. Had a huge weekend in Ponoka, pulling out 18 grand, and he also went down to the NFR Open in Colorado Springs and had a big week there.
It's just really he's been a guy that has just rodeoed so hard for a lot of years
Hmm.
here now and hasn't quite got those big payouts or big noticeable
Hmm.
achievements yet, but you know that it's coming, and Pinoca was just a great showcase of that. I mean, I know during his acceptance of the buckle and everything like that, talking about how he's been there forever. I mean, the Shuckberg name and I mean, connections to the Thurstons.
Hmm.
It's a rodeo family through and through. And he just, I mean, when you look at that event at Panoka, I mean, what event is the most challenging at that
Yeah.
rodeo? It's the steer thing, heads and tails.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
to come out of it on top, that's something. I mean, nobody just accidentally wins a steer wrestling at Panoka.
No,
And
no. When it's
a
and
ton of
it's no slight to the any of the other competitor or any of the other rodeos, I guess, but just the volume of competitors you get at Pinoca, the quality, like you get some of the really tough guys coming from the US. And I mean, again, this is no like a lot of these are big tour rodeos are getting these guys, but just the slog of what Pinoca is. I think you have to run four headed steers before you can even touch the championship, right?
yeah. And on top of that, you've got that Pendleton run that you've got to deal with
Yeah,
on
yeah,
top of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
The scoring, the setup, everything there is such a. I mean, in the other timed events, absolutely that run is definitely a challenge. But in that steer wrestling, I mean, who who likes to keep their knees under them is steer wrestling. It's a challenge there for sure. And again, he rose to the challenge there on the championship night.
Oh, and it was good to see. It was good to see because he like I feel like Ryan's been on the up and up the last few years, and just to see him, like you say, capitalize on those big paydays was huge. Another guy who had a great weekend, who didn't win a dime in Ponoka, was Clay Guthrie, a big win in Williams Lake. Talk about how the weekend went for him, Clay, or the couple weeks, I guess.
Yeah, you win that Williams Lake, and it's funny. I know talking to Scotty Gunsner, who we'll likely talk about a little bit more. He won two of the other rodeos on the weekend, but it didn't add up lots. You can almost make yourself feel like you didn't have a good weekend if you didn't do anything at Ponoka, but you got to let that go and you got to
Hmm.
move
Hmm.
on. And Clay Guthrie definitely did that, and winning Williams Lake. I mean, that's a huge setup for him. He's another guy a little bit younger than Ryan that's come up. I mean, his dad tremendous steer wrestler over the years,
Hmm.
and those Guthrie boys are coming up and hungry for it, and this is similar big break that I think is really going to propel him on going forward.
Dan has him sitting in a good spot as we head into the back half of the season here, so it'll be fun to watch him the rest of the way through. Another, I don't even know if it's a surprise at this point, but another big winner from the weekend, Nick Patterson, kicked off the Ponoka Stampede with a huge 89.5 point ride on Virgil and just kind of springboarded his weekend. He's establishing himself as one of the top bronc riders in Canada, and it's great to see.
You know, we talked about Nick last year. Wildwood was really kind of a turning point for him, and then he had a big deal or big ride in Sundry. I think the CFR maybe wasn't quite to the
Hmm.
standards he would have wanted, but you know, he just picked up where he left off for the season and has been rodeo and you know, some of the time you get fortunate enough to get that early week draw where you've got a contractor that's got to go somewhere else. So they bring kind of an A team horse that you'll win Calgary on if they take him there, but you get him in the long round and Nick definitely used him there to propel him onward throughout that whole weekend and props to him for just showing up and showing out the whole time.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch Nick over the last year from like you say from that Wildwood Sundry run last year to where he's at now. You can just see in his like demeanor walking around. Like I was in Wildwood this year and I saw him in Sundry again. Just he's calm, cool, and collected, and I think he's ready to take that next step in his career. So it'll be fun to watch him the rest of the way through. Okay, team roping, Clay. Colton Schmidt, Sid Spore are the kind of the big winners from Ponoka and the Cowboy Christmas, but also Brett Buss and Joey Romo the second had a great weekend as well.
Yeah, I mean Colton Schmidt and Sid Spore, they made a lot of good runs there in Ponoka and pieced it all together to just make a huge splash. I mean Colton and Sid, they're both working both sides of the border, so
Hmm.
anytime you can have that huge payday, again, it just double dips for you. And Sid, we saw him kind of return to Canada last year
Hmm.
after having been away for quite a while, and I mean he's just roping like he owes somebody money. It's just been sensational to watch. I know, I mean, that pen's tough enough in the team roping because
Yeah.
it's not a lot of room for healers and Colton spun him some good steers, but I noticed had a couple neck roped and that just adds to that difficulty. But Sid was on top of things there. And yeah, when we talk about Brett Buss and Joey Romo, I mean, those two guys, they were knocking it out of the park everywhere. We look at the fast times of the weekend, they were 4-6 in Ponoka in the second round and in Airdrie, and then they were 4-7 in Raymond. So I mean, they just had a tremendous weekend, and that allowed Joey to make a huge move in the standings. Brett as well. I
Hmm.
mean, Brett just knows what he's doing and helps those guys that know how to rope that maybe haven't established themselves out there. But Brett's a tremendous coach and just really knows how to find them guys that know how to heal for him.
Oh, it's amazing. And hopping back to Colton Schmidt and Sid Sporer, that win helped kind of push them into within striking distance of the top 15 in the world. Just looking at it right now, Colton is currently $1,400 behind Dawson Graham for that 15th spot. So I feel like a big win for those two will help kind of solidify those NFR aspirations and maybe help with this fall push and get them going that way. Um, Okay, so coming up next, we got the barrel racing. Um, Jennifer Newdorf, she's been to the CFR before. She qualified at the Calgary Stampede via the qualifier competition or jackpot, whatever we want to call it. But she had a big weekend in Ponoka, taking home the showdown with 17.24 seconds and just under of $20,000, which is a huge win, probably, and a confidence booster for her career, her best of her season.
No doubt. I think that's everybody's happy about that. The banker,
Mm.
the vet, everybody's happy to see those wins like that, and
Mhm.
just a tremendous showing. I mean, we had quite a few barrel racers that just had a tremendous week there and everything, but I mean, you throw down that 17.24 in the showdown,
Mhm.
and I mean, the one thing to always be mindful of with a rodeo like Ponoka or Calgary, these barrel racers got to make two runs on these horses
Yep.
in the same day, and that's no easy feat. I mean, you've got to run fast enough early in the day to make it to Sunday or to the
100%.
finals,
Yep.
but you also don't want to totally burn that horse out, and it's
Mhm.
so the strategy in the barrel racing on those championship type days where there's the two runs. I mean, props to them for figuring that out and making it count.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't an easy round for Jennifer too. There were some big dogs in that final four, and she smoked a great run. So congrats to her. Okay, last event for the Cowboy Christmas wrap up, the bull riding. Obviously, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. Hayes Waite knocking out an 89.5 point ride in the final four to take home over $40,000 in earnings. We probably won't see him coming back north of the border that much, chasing the CFR, but I mean, good on him for capitalizing on an opportunity to win a ton of money and get him in a solid spot in the top five in the world right now. But outside of that, Coy Schmidt, a guy who's coming off a broken arm, he's been to the CFR before, looking to get back there. I think this a weekend like that or a week like that will help his confidence as we move through the rest of the season.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And I actually had heard he had to take the weekend after that off. He was pretty sick
Hmm.
and everything, but no, that had some really good rides. I think just got bumped out for the win in Williams Lake and won another one of those rodeos, and just good for him, a young guy who has fought through some injuries and some things that really make it a challenge to keep at it. I mean, bull riding's always tough, and you'll see a lot of those guys that fight through that, but when they can
Hmm.
finally get healthy enough to piece it together, good on him, and hopefully he keeps it up and carries it forward. I mean, jumped up 14 spots, and I mean that's not hard or not easy to do.
No, and look, just looking at the bull riding standings, it's kind of like a mucky middle from say even 20th to the top to second, really, if you exclude Hayes Weight. I mean, like there's everybody's within striking distance, and there's a ton of money available. We have a bunch of tour rodeos, tour finale, whatever way you look at it. So it's going to be an exciting finish to see who that top 12 in the bull riding ends up being. One thing before we throw it to our interview this week, Clay, I think we
Don't
need to
want to
give
forget
us
our breakaway roping.
go and forget about the breakaway rope. I guess two things then. Yeah, that's right. The breakaway roping. Yes. So the Ponoka Stampede finally unveiled the breakaway roping at its event, and it did not disappoint.
No, it's a experience for them. Those breakaway ropers. I give props to the local community there. They hosted a breakaway jackpot the week before the
Hmm.
rodeo to give some of those girls a chance to get in there and just get a feel for what that setup's going to be like. I mean, you know, the high school finals has been there quite a few times, but they'll throw the roping boxes in there and just make it like any other rodeo.
Yeah.
And for those breakaway ropers, I know that was huge. And Amanda Terrell there, I mean, throws down a 3-1 to win the showdown, ends up making that 11,000. You know, they kind of pooled the majority of the money into that showdown to make it pay the same on the final performance as the rest of the events. And I mean, those girls sure do appreciate roping for that kind of money.
Oh yeah, and it was exciting to watch. I mean, yeah, Amanda threw a great run down. That puts her in a great spot heading into the back half of the season, looking to make her first CFR. And yeah, it's exciting to see these gals get this stage to like this level of stage to rope. But obviously, we saw what happened in Calgary. I think we're not far from seeing it at the NFR, but I think the more and more we can showcase these gals in a a stage they deserve to be on, it's only gonna be better, make rodeo better and better and more exciting for the fans as well. So another big winner from that weekend is Caitlyn Dahm. I don't know. I was kind of thinking about something. I wasn't sure if you mentioned her, but she won Williams Lake and then won a go around or placed deep in a go around at Ponoka. But it's good to see her doing well because she is our guest this week on the show.
No, for sure. I had a great weekend there. Like you say, moved up a couple of spots, placing good in Ponoka, and just piecing it together, making some really good runs and really pushing on things. I know Dawson, he kind of had to step it up the weekend after, I think, to catch up. 'Cause, I
Yeah.
mean, you don't want to be the one not earning in the rig and everything like that. So it was a great weekend for her for sure.
Yeah, super exciting, and it was a great chat with Caitlin. I'm excited for everybody to hear it. But the one last thing I wanted to mention before we throw it to that interview, the NFR Open, we kind of touched on a little bit with Ryan Schuckberg having a great weekend. But I just want to give a shout out to the Maple Leaf Circuit who had a great performance down there. I think we ended up with winning just over $40,000 collectively. And heading into the final, we had won the most money out of all the circuits. Obviously, the final didn't go the way we all wanted it to, but I just wanted to give a shout out to all the contestants who went down there and showed up and showed out for Canada.
For sure. And I mean, Shelby Beaujolais Magid there
Yeah,
made
she
an
still
outstanding
counts.
run there. She, I mean, coming up last to go, and I mean, she did what she did.
Yeah,
It was an outstanding run. Obviously, the next day made another good one or two, and just a heck of a good stretch there. One interesting note I wanted to mention about Pinoca that I had saw that was kind of neat. In the tie down roping, Blair Burke shows up, and I mean Blair Burke of the epic NFR battles
yep.
against Cody Ole and all of those guys, still rodeoing, still entering, and jumps out to rope his calf out of the heading box.
Interesting.
And Peyton Bray actually did it in the finals as well. And it's a move that I talking to some guys, they do it in Pendleton. You get that long run, and those calves that take a step left in the calf rope event, it is such a challenge. And so I mean, Blair Burke went out, and I think he ended up placing in that round that he did it, and continued doing it the rest of the weekend. And I mean, Peyton Bray made money and real good money in that showdown. And
Hmm.
it'll be interesting to see if that's a move that kind of takes off for some more of those guys. Cause yeah, you get that haze the right way and stuff. It's just one of those kind of
Dang,
advanced moves that you kind of notice
cheeky.
in things that, I mean, yeah, it was a kind of a cool thing to see, and just that like that extra trick that a guy can do to give him an edge.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a cheeky thing. So they have to declare that before they make their run, like or
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely,
okay,
because
okay.
they have to set up the barrier. I mean, the thing about it is with the barrier being kind of run by a judge, you can kind of set that up easy enough, and yeah, you would have to declare it. I'd heard that it almost might have been a rule in the past that it wasn't allowed. I don't know if it had been
Right.
changed
Yeah. Yeah.
how
Yeah.
that had gone,
Huh.
but it was, yeah, I thought that was just a cool kind of side note that I when you compare it, I think about it like Chris Paul in the NBA, a guy that's always looking for just that extra edge and to keep up with everybody and take a step ahead. So
Interesting.
thought that
Yeah.
was kind of a
Any edge you can get, Clay. I like it. That's cool. That's an interesting tidbit. Thanks for sharing that. All right, buddy. I think that's good. Wrap up for our Cowboy Christmas. Cowboy Christmas air quotes. Like we said, it kind of doesn't really count as Cowboy Christmas anymore because it goes on forever. But I think it's a good time to throw to our interview. Caitlyn Dahm, it was a fun chat with her. But yeah, we'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Short Round Podcast, the official podcast of the Canadian Professional Rodeo Association. I'm your host, Wacey Anderson, and this week I am pleased to be welcomed by a CFR Breakaway Roper, Caitlyn Dahm. Caitlyn, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me today.
Thanks for having me.
So, we have a lot of different lanes we want to go down for this, but let's talk a bit about how the season's been going so far. You're currently, I just had this pulled up. You're currently sixth in the Canadian standings. Obviously in a great spot to head back to CFR, but tell me a bit about how 2025 has been going for you.
The start of the season was pretty rough. My horses were working really good, and I just couldn't seem to connect. But things have turned around in probably the last 3 weeks or last month since Sundry. And since then, it's been going really good, considering how it started.
Yeah, so how so I mean it's I guess with the way the dynamic of breakaway roping has changed and more rodeos taking it on, it's kind of it's nice that there's more money out there, more rodeos, but like how are you having to like battle through these slumps a little bit more, or is it a little bit less of a stressful knowing that there's bigger rodeos paying more money at like for instance Pinoca adding the breakaway roping or whatever, but are you I feel like before when there wasn't as much breaker roping, it'd be easier to for these slumps to affect the season. But I mean, how are you dealing with those early on?
Oh gosh, early on it was a struggle for sure because it wasn't. The reason I struggled, I was drawing good calves, my horses
Mhm.
were working good. I was the rodeos were great, and I was practicing. It wasn't a lack of effort or anything like that. And the battling through slump for me, whether it was 5 years ago or 6 years ago, just at the amateur rodeos when it wasn't quite at the priorities yet, or even now, I find for me, I want to succeed at any level, whether it's for $100 or 100,000. I
Mhm.
feel the equal pressure that way, but I just struggled because it seemed like I was in that slump for so long.
Mhm.
Like I hadn't. I might be wrong on this, but I don't think I had pulled a check since from the beginning of the season until Sundry. So
Wow.
that's a long time for a dry spell,
Mhm.
and not again. I wasn't. It wasn't like it was from like things just weren't going my way.
Yeah, it's kind of just the way the rodeo luck works, eh? And then all of a sudden it clicks, and here you are. And let's talk about that run in Sundry. I was there that day. You were 1.9, if I remember correctly. Smoked a great run, but what does that do for your confidence for one, and then just kind of help build some momentum?
For starters, you kind of start questioning before that run, like, do I even remember how to rope, or should I just stay home? Uh, or what's going on? So it wasn't even like I was, not that no one says that, not that you're trying to be fast.
Hmm.
You want to be
Hmm.
as fast as you can, but when I backed into the corner, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna be 1.9. It was just like I'm gonna take the best start I can take, throw my rope when it feels right. And yes, it did. It was easy to, not easy, but it was easier to build momentum and confidence
Hmm.
leaving Sundry than it had been any other rodeo that I had gone to this spring.
It's a good time of year to heat up too, with Cowboy Christmas kicking off kind of that weekend, rolling into Ponoka, and kind of it's pretty well flat out from now until basically the end of the season.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was a good. If it we were gonna get on a roll, not that it's a roll, but if we were gonna catch a calf around the neck, that was a good time to do it.
Yeah, no doubt. In those situations, when you obviously make a good run, you made a good run, the rope comes off the horn. Like, is there any anxiety of like breaking the barrier, or are you pretty aware of like whether you get out or not in those situations? I'm curious about that with like how fast the breakaway roping is.
For me personally, I don't necessarily have anxiety. I'd rather break the barrier and try to win the rodeo or place
Hmm.
than be off of it and rope them at the back into the arena. I would say if I had anxiety, it's more anxiety about missing my calf.
Mm.
But I'm gonna try the barrier every time. I'm gonna try to push it. I'm gonna try to give myself the best chance because in the breakaway roping, the only way to give yourself a chance is at the start.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
so competitive nowadays, you can't be off the barrier.
It is wild how much more competitive it's got in the last, even since from last year to this year. I mean, you guys were It's funny. I noticed like last year there were so many ties of like you'd see like three people be 2.4 seconds and win a rodeo, but now it seems like it's getting even faster. Like if you're not under 2.5 seconds or 2.4 seconds, you're hardly catching a check nowadays. What do you think is attesting to that, or what do you think is the biggest factor in that speed upgrade, I guess?
A speed upgrade, I think people are like, you no longer, I don't want to say, every year people's horsepower is getting better. We're
Hmm.
figuring out how to push the barrier, how to make, whether that's different types of ropes, there's coming out with new ropes every single year, whether that's more action or snappier or faster, or girls are figuring out another way to reach more. Before I think we would almost always ride to position and throw a rope.
Hmm.
Now you almost have to hit the line and reach sometimes to make it work,
Yeah.
or ride a faster horse. So I think every year people are just getting more competitive and our sport is growing and getting better every single year.
Do you think that more people or more folks, say in the US, are putting Canada on the map as like a breaker roping kind of, I don't know if mecca is the right word, but just a place where they can come and it's competitive, there's good money added, like all the things that rodeo competitors look for.
Absolutely. And I maybe I'm a little biased saying this or not because I'm American, but I married a
Mhm.
Canadian. But I don't
Yeah.
think Canada needed anyone to necessarily put them on the map. There's
Mhm.
great cowboys and cowgirls here. They are always has been. I mean, ever since I can remember showing up to Canada, not one time did I back in the box and be like, "Oh, it's easy up here."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
different. It might be different, like your setups or your starts or the size of cattle and things like that, but you'll find someone that can whoop your butt anywhere in the US or Canada, and that's my opinion.
Yeah, it's been cool to see. Like I said, it's breaker roping has become a major event now, and the evolution of it over the past 4 or 5 years has been amazing in my eyes. It's just like I said, we talked about it earlier. It's getting faster, more competitive, and I think people realize the amount of money available in Canada too. Like you look at all these rodeos increasing their prize money, Ponoka adding the breakaway, and we just saw what happened down in Calgary at the Stampede. I mean, it's just you can see more and more money available up here, and that's which is drawing in more competitors. I want to ask you about Ponoka. How amazing, how cool was it to have a rodeo of that stature add the breakaway roping and then get to compete and have some success there?
I will say Ponoka, besides Cheyenne, Ponoka is one of the most fun, coolest experience I've ever had. It was just neat to compete at that stage with everyone else. And I know I feel like we're beating a dead horse when we say that, but it really was back in the
Hmm.
box and such a unique start. You know, it's not like you're at home practicing the start at Ponoka
No, no.
and your horse jumping the barrier. You know, it's a fun, it was really unique. It was almost like a cowgirls roping. You know, I felt
Yeah.
like, not that you're going to go out and doctor one on wheat pasture, but that's what it was kind of like. It was like, go
Mhm.
rope your calf. It's a cowgirls game out there, so it was fun. I really enjoyed it, and I can't thank everyone that busted their butt to get breakaway open in the Ponoka Stampede, because we wouldn't be there without them. So it made it. I'll sure every year that I can enter, I'm going to be sure to enter.
Tell me about the first run because you guys were the same as all the other tournaments. You ran one on the slack and then in the perp. But tell me about that first run, backing in the box. What was going through your mind? And yeah, you didn't get a no time in round one, but what was kind of going through your mind? What kind of feelings were you feeling in that moment?
Uh, I did actually. I wrote my calf. I
Oh, you
think
did.
I
Okay,
roped around
sorry,
the ears. Yeah,
sorry.
no,
Okay.
that's okay. I was a little bit disappointed in myself. I thought I would read my calf better.
Hmm.
To be honest with you, I was nervous, but I was freaking 2 feet off the start. So I was mad at myself there. And then that calf once, and our calves that set, they kind of tried. Um, I think we were the first, we roped the tie down calves or so it was their third or fourth trip. So I was upset with myself that I didn't get a better go. And then
Hmm.
I second guessed my throw and things like that. But regardless, I was still smiling when I left the arena because where else do you get it to rope like that? So
Hmm.
even though I was disappointed and I was nervous, so by the second round I was ready. I was like, okay, I know the start you need to see, and I'm going to throw my rope and not second guess it. So maybe it was a good thing that I I missed my first calf. Maybe I wouldn't have been as this aggressive on my second one.
Well, and it worked out. You're 2.8 seconds and made a great run. And what was that feeling like once again the rope comes off? There's a three full grandstands almost of people watching you. It's kind of a, and like I feel like for every breaker roper that competed there, it's kind of like a monumental moment for the sport and for the competitors.
Absolutely. Well, after I threw, I was just like, please be clean around the neck after it broke. And then and it was
Yeah.
cool because our whole Pinocchio was on the Cowboy Channel. I know a lot of rodeos are on the Cowboy Channel now, but
Hmm.
it's something that people are watching. So it was nice that all my family back in the States and our family up here could watch it without being there. And then it was fun to just, like you said, that's probably, besides the Canadian finals, is probably the
Hmm.
biggest stage that I've got to rope on. So, or at, but that in the college finals, it felt like you were in a part of it, a prestigious event. And when you
Hmm.
do well, it definitely makes it a little sweeter.
Yeah, and I guess it's like it's cool to see breakaway open getting the respect it deserves. And I don't know if respect is. I feel like it's always been respected, but just to be involved in the major part of the rodeo, it's become such a fan favorite event. It's one of my favorite events to watch. It's so fast, so exciting, and it's cool to see it getting kind of involved now in these bigger moments again, like we talked about Pinocchio and Calgary. Let's jump back to I want to jump back a little bit. I want to learn more of your story. Like you said, you come from the U.S. I don't know a whole lot about you, but tell me about your journey, how you got started in rodeo, and a bit about your family.
I'm from Spring Hill, Kansas, and my mom ran barrels, and my dad team roped.
Hmm.
And I remember we were riding horses as soon as we could walk, to be honest. And then um, in high school, I quit rodeoing. I focused on school sports. It was a little bit easier. My parents were divorced, so going back and forth, trying to keep
Hmm.
horses in shape once a week, it wasn't plausible. So I actually played every sport that I could in high school, and I got a scholarship my senior year to cheerlead. I was gonna go on, and then a week before I was supposed to move in to Pittsburgh State, I ended up changing. I got a phone call from the community college at Fort Scott Community College from the coach there, And literally a week before I was supposed to like start cheer practice, I decided I hadn't picked up a rope in 4 years, but I wanted rodeo in college. I don't really know why. I'm really glad that I did go that route
Mm-hmm.
now, but it was while in my mom, I can remember they weren't, my dad was super excited because he team roped and loved it. And I took his head horse to college, and I didn't have a breakaway horse at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom, she'd support me in everything I did, but she's like, what are you doing? You know, you're supposed to go to nursing school. You got a scholarship to cheer, and you're going to go to a community college and rope like on a horse, and you haven't roped in so long. So it was wild. And then, Dawson and I met at Panhandle after Fort Scott. I went to
Nice.
Panhandle. And I love the coaches there as well. They were awesome. Robert and Shelby. They definitely helped make me a competitor. Fort Scott taught me how to rope, taught me how to breakaway rope. My dad,
Mm-hmm.
I learned my horsemanship and everything from him, but I just learned to really be competitive at Panhandle. They have, weekly jackpots that you're competing against your college teammates, and I think I really learned how to throw my rope there. And then Dawson and I started dating, and he brought me up here.
So tell me about like what it was like in high school. Like where was rodeo kind of always in the back of your mind? Were you missing it, or did you kind of always know in your heart you'd find your way back? Because that's got to be hard. I mean, as a young person, you probably had friends who were high school rodeo and you wanted to take part in that. But what was that like for you not being able to take part in kind of those years of rodeo?
Well, to be completely honest, I've always loved horses. I've always loved
Hmm.
roping, and I've always liked running barrels too. But with my parents being divorced, it made it because we got to go to my dad's, I think, like once a night or
Gotcha.
once a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
And it costs a lot of money too. And
Yes.
we never went without anything, but to be competitive at the high school level, I am super competitive, and we didn't have the money to buy the type of horsepower to win. And and no matter how much I roped the dummy, I was just always getting my butt kicked. Like I didn't have a barrel horse that was fast enough. I was trying to break away on a head horse. And then in the team rope, when I did team rope quite a bit, but my partner, I think I turned like 9 out of 10 steers, and my partner missed 8 of them or something. So at that point, and nothing against that, we were young and everything like
Yeah.
that, but it's just like I am competitive. So at least I knew at the high school deals, like I can work hard and I can be competitive in a sport. And then come back to rodeo when it works out, because only practicing once a week wasn't cutting it to be successful.
So was it a hard decision to go to the community college on the rodeo team? Like you hadn't been you obviously you've been roping and riding and you hadn't really put it down, but was it a little bit nerve-wracking being like, oh dang, I haven't really done this at a high level for a long time, or was it just kind of an easy way to jump in?
No, I think I was so naive to like what
Yeah.
I was even doing. Like, for graduation, when I graduated high school, I got $800 from like friends and family,
Hmm.
and I went and bought this 2 horse bumper pull, and it literally
Nice.
like it was so small when I shut the back of the trailer, because like all these people have like living quarters trailers
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
super nice rigs, and I had like a single cab truck that wouldn't go over 60 miles per hour, and then this bumper pull, my breakaway horse, or the horse I was riding at the time, whatever, her butt cheeks were like hanging back of this 2 horse bumper pull. I wasn't doing that at all. um like it was, I just didn't even care. Like I pulled up, and one thing I'll say, at Fort Scott, we're such a family, no one looked down on. I knew after the trailer, and none of my friends made me feel any different. Like when I
Hmm.
showed up, it was awesome. They welcomed me with open arms. I mean, half the time I didn't even ride my own horses at practice. Like there was, I rode other breakaway ropers, other calf ropers' horses. Just it was awesome. I think if I would have gone to any other school other than Fort Scott,
Hmm.
I would have had a rude awakening.
Right.
But it was the best thing that could happen to me.
So then at what point did you realize in your college career that you could kind of pursue this and move on to the panhandle states of the world and then push for a college finals?
I had an internship with Roy Durfee after I kind of had the basics from my dad. He started Colts, and he was a really good horseman, team roping, but I wanted to pursue more of the calf roping side of things.
Hmm.
And I needed more education in calf roping, like how to set my horse up for position, and At school, I had a young horse, my dun mare, who carried me through a lot of success. When I went to work at Roy's, he kind of helped me make that horse. And I learned a lot about how to be competitive, how to make a horse, how to go on. And once I was mounted and some on people's horses and things like that, once I realized how nice she was and I could compete at a higher level, uh, it just fell into place. I don't know that I've always been goal oriented. I wanted to make the college finals, but I don't know that I was mounted before her. And then once she kind of was, I seasoned her that summer at the amateur rodeos, and then made college finals on her after that. And I think that's when I realized I could do it, is when I mounted.
Yeah, and the rest is history. That's cool. Okay, so for the folks who don't know, you're married to Dawson Dahm, Canadian saddle bronc rider. Tell me about how you guys met. You already mentioned that you guys met in college, but tell me about meeting that guy and kind of how he convinced you to come up and rodeo in Canada.
Dawson and I met, we were both rodeoing at Panhandle, and he was a competitive bronc rider. And I liked that at the end of the day, we were riding 2-year-olds. I was starting colts, and he was the only other person in the arena at like 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Like, I was there looking after horses, and it was just cool. I respected that about him. Like, he might go out and party and stuff too, but it was just cool to see, like, hey, this kid busts his butt. He works hard. And he likes to have fun. So that's kind of how we met. And my first summer up here, I don't know if it was LRA or WRA. I'm not super familiar with the amateur rodeo associations up here, but they didn't have breakaway at the pro rodeos yet.
Right.
So I first got up here, and I remember there was like 6 entries in the breakaway roping, and we were roping like team roping steers. Like, the horns were this long.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you wanted me to come up. Anyway, it was fun. So it's cool. And that might have been 6 or 7 years ago, but just how much the sport has progressed up here in 6 or 7 years is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. So what's it been like for the both of you? I guess you guys' careers have kind of grown together. Like, you guys have both made the CFR now. Dawson's having success. You're having a good year. You're kind of both in line with CFR this year. But what's that been like, having your careers kind of blossom together?
Oh, it's been a blast. Dawson is for sure my biggest supporter. Whether I wanted to pack up and go home before Sundry, I really did. I didn't want to go. He forces me to stay out there. He makes me stay hooked, and he believes in me no matter what. And same goes for him. Like, I will support him until if he decided he wanted to quit riding broncs and, I don't know, be a leather worker, I would make sure that whatever he wanted to do, I want to try to be the best supporter I can for him. And he's the same way for me.
It's fun to have that environment where you were. I think it's in any relationship too, like where you guys push each other and want the best for each other, because that's where you find the most success.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. And especially when we're both super competitive and we want to see each other do well and things like that. So I don't think it would work with the both of us if either one of us were lazy or not competitive or complacent. It wouldn't work.
Okay, let's talk 2024. Big year. For this is for the listeners out there. I know I talk about the 2024 season, the CFR, a bunch, but it's cool because it was such a historic year for the Canadian finals. It was the 50th year, went back to Edmonton. Breakaway roping was part of it from start to finish the whole time. But let's talk about the year for you leading up to that. What was the season like? What were the ups and downs as you headed into qualifying for the 50th CFR?
Oh gosh, there were lots of ups and downs. Like last year, I don't think, this sounds bad, but last year I don't think I pulled a check in June. Or it was like 10 rodeos that I didn't pull a check. So that was really rough. And I don't know for sure, but I think it came down to, I don't know if I won merit or if it came down to Armstrong. I don't remember. That might have been the year prior, but it literally came down to the last rodeo of the season. And what was kind of hard about that is when I have developed such a good relationship with these other breakaway ropers, and we're such friends, when your friends are 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, and we're all fighting for those 12 spots, that can be difficult because I want to see those other girls do just as well as I do. So that was almost just as hard mentally as I want to be there for myself, but it also sucks when you knock a friend out that busts their butt to be there too. So, but that's part of our game. It turns out there's a CFR every single year. They have breakaway open every single year. And we all got to put our head down and bust our butt to try to make it work. So It was a year full of ups and downs, but it was fun nonetheless.
And it's kind of the beauty of rodeo where I mean there's so much camaraderie between the contestants, but you don't see that like as much in any other sport. And on building on that, it's like it's not really you versus them, it's you versus your calf, and you get the job done, and just where the chips fall is where the chips fall.
Absolutely. Yep. Not one time have I, and I don't want to, another thing with what you just said, I don't ever back in the box thinking like I need to beat so and
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Like I'm gonna try to, yes, like I'm gonna try to give myself the best chance on the calf I have drawn. There's enough variables in this sport with live calf, riding a horse, your barriers, the weather. The last thing you need to do is try to put it in your head that you need to beat someone else. Because if we try rodeoing like that, it's not you're not going to be successful. But um, yeah, so I agree. I think rodeo is the most selfish and selfless sport at the same time. You know, we put a lot of people make a lot of sacrifices so we can do the things we do, but at the same time, if you're broke down, if you need a horse, if you lost your debit card, whatever it may be, is the first sport, or you're broke down 10 hours from home, you'll have a place to stay, you'll have a rig, you'll have a horse, whatever it may be. So that's why I think it's kind of funny in that respect. It's like it's the best of it's a unique balance, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So what was it? What was that feeling like when you'd known when you got were you able to call in, enter the 50th Canadian Finals, and knew you're heading up to Edmonton for a week in October?
It was pretty exciting because Edmonton's only an hour from us
Hmm.
at the ranch, which is nice. We're close to home. Dad got to come to Canada for the first time,
Oh,
which is
awesome.
pretty exciting. His first time in 6 years that he got to come up. So I wish I would have performed a little bit better for him to come watch, but that's okay. It was still a good time, and it was surreal like that. That building is amazing. It was a
Hmm.
blast. It's beautiful. So yes, it was pretty cool. It was fun. I also enjoyed Red Deer too, though. I didn't get to see it before Red Deer.
Hmm.
I wasn't up here yet, but I thought Red Deer did a great job, and I also think Edmonton did a great job. So it's been fun to kind of get to see both sides of it.
Yeah, and that's we've talked about that lots on the show before too. It's like this is no slight towards Red Deer and what they did and what they accomplished. Like they were a great home to the CFR for as long as they were, and I think it was the natural progression for the CFR to get there. It's like okay, when somewhere new, we had to adapt and change. And by the time it was leaving Red Deer, it was firing all cylinders, and that helped us roll right into Edmonton because we want to see rodeo grow. And with that, you grew out of places, and maybe that was the case with Red Deer. But yeah, it was great to be back in a major center in a
Absolutely.
big city in a beautiful building. But I know, and like you said, I know you didn't have the week that you maybe would have wanted, but what was it like just being part of that group and watching what Macy did and being able to rope in that bill? I guess starting before we get into that, what was it like riding into the building for the first time, seeing all the lights and kind of being in that atmosphere?
Oh, it was I don't know that there's a feeling for it unless you get to see there and be I would say it's not something you can easily recreate.
Hmm.
I have there's only a few times that you get that kind of like surreal moment like you worked all year for this, right? And so many people sacrificed to help us get there. So that's a cool feeling, and the people that stand behind you, you almost feel like, oh, this all paid off. You guys get to see,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that aspect. And then as far as Macy goes, I don't know if there could for Breakaway Rope being in Edmonton for the first time. I don't know how much more you could get a crowd amped up for this. She was on fire all week.
Hmm.
She roped amazing. She's very well spoken, and I think even her performance at Edmonton probably helped us get into Panoka too. Like it was awesome, and it was fun to watch too. Like there's not very many times I've seen a 1.5 second run in my life, or
No,
1.6
no.
or 1.7. So
Yeah.
like she did a great job. It was a blast, and yeah, I would watch runs like that all day long. That's a
Hmm.
show everything you bust your butt for, and good horsepower and well spoken at the end of it. So it was fun.
That's an interesting point you make of how it probably helped kind of move the needle for um like getting breaker roping into Panoka, and maybe Calgary started thinking about it a bit more because I feel like maybe you guys weren't feeling it, but maybe there was a little bit of pressure on the breaker ropers. Okay, you guys are in the big show for all 5 nights. You guys got to perform and put on a great show for the people watching, and you guys knocked it out of the park.
Absolutely. And again, I don't know that I just out of the park, but I'm dang sure glad the girls I was up with did, because there was a lot of pressure, and they want to see a show, and they want us in and out of the box fast. They don't want us messing around, and I understand. I really do understand that. Like, hey, no one wants to see a girl in the box for 40 minutes. Like, I
Yeah.
get it. So there was pressure for us to do a good job, and uh, be professional, be class, do and be gritty, you know. So, and I think that last year, as a whole, the Breakaway Ropers delivered that, and I was excited to be a part of that group.
Yeah, I think it all culminates and kind of attributes to the growth that we're seeing in Breakaway Open. Okay, looking ahead to 2025, like we said at the top of the show, you're currently sixth in Canada. You're in a good spot to head back to Edmonton for the 51st Canadian Finals Rodeo. Um, Obviously, we don't want to try not to jinx anything or whatever, but how much is last year's performance motivating you to obviously get back there and then show the people in at the CFR that hey, I belong here? Not saying you didn't from last year, but just I know for your standards probably wasn't
Oh,
the best you wanted to do.
absolutely. This year I kind of had a different goal that I haven't necessarily had in the past about rodeos that I don't want to say I hadn't done well at in the past, but there's been some rodeos like every year that things hadn't gone right. And it's been my mission this year that I was like, this isn't that, it doesn't matter. Like I'm gonna get something done here, you know? Um, and I just can't wait. I want another chance back at Red Deer, because the last 3 years at the CFR, I don't know why. Um, had done this, but I've been super late and not on the barrier and not throwing my rope. And it's like I know when we get to the finals, I know what's gonna be. The start is gonna be short and the cattle are gonna run. So why had I struggled that much? So yes, I'm gonna try like heck to be back there again, and I want kind of redemption. Not I don't want to say redemption, but redemption. Like I want to be on the start, throw my rope. I would prepare for the finals differently than I had the last 3 years. You know, I scored a lot of calves, made sure my horse was super free. And this year, if I get the chance to practice for the CFR again, I'm going to practice so different than I have the last years. I was underprepared. My horse wasn't firing. So if yes, I just want a chance to show them like, yes, I belong here. I can be, and I have a way different style about going about it now.
Yeah, it's interesting the things you learn as you like it's adversity, but maybe it's adversity you need to go through to learn kind of how to take that next step and obviously you're great at doing that. So it'll be fun to follow the rest of the season for you. And speaking of that, we're about halfway through the Canadian Pro Rodeo season. We got kind of a busy run through here through July and August, and then everything kind of wraps up with the Armstrong Merit weekend. But what are you looking ahead to for the rest of the season? What are some spots you're looking forward to checking out, and maybe a win on your bucket list you haven't got yet?
Ooh, I think a win on the bucket list would. There's so much money up at Armstrong at the Tour Finals, that, and it's new this year, the tournament style. I always think a tournament style is so fun and cool to go on and win at your bracket and keep on going. So I think that would be a bucket list win for sure. As far as looking forward to, I just want to keep my head down, keep working at it, uh, keep practicing. And if it's meant to be and we're drawing good, my horse is sound, then we'll be there. And that's as far as that goes. I'm looking forward to Merritt. I love that road.
Yeah, it's
They have a
beautiful.
nice little bakery or cafe. Of their cafe there in Merritt. Like we stop there like 2 or 3 times a day. So I enjoy that. I enjoy going out on the boat in Armstrong too. Those are just some different things. But there's a lot of good rodeos coming up. I know it's not a breakaway open, but I love watching Dawson and Pollockville. Looking forward to that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So it's hard not to. I think I've tried to enter around it just so I can watch such a good bronc ride. But there's a lot of exciting things coming up for both events, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
So before I let you go here, let's talk about that tournament style, the kind of the revamp of the tour finale in Armstrong. It's a big deal. Like you say, I think having the tournament finale, or the tournament style finale makes it kind of ups the stakes a little bit, makes it more exciting. But yeah, what as a competitor, like how does that change things for you? How excited are you to potentially be part of that?
I think for one, just trying to qualify for it. I
Hmm.
think I don't know what I haven't looked at the tour standings recently to see what it's going to take, and we still have quite a few tour rodeos
Yeah.
left. But Uh, I think it's gonna be, I could be wrong on this, but I think a person's gonna have to go out there and try to win something instead of save. At least for my style of roping, anyway.
Hmm.
I think safety up's not gonna get a person anywhere, and it'll be exciting to see. It'd be fun if it was a. I don't want to say a slinging match, but it's gonna be fun if you got to go be fast to get
Yeah.
something done. So I'm kind of wondering if that's how it's gonna be, and if so, I hope we get to be a part of it.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. And you really couldn't like pick a more perfect setting than Armstrong. I love that rodeo. It's so cool. It's like for me, it's one of the closest things we have to like an old school American rodeo. Just to set up the way the grandstands are and like the under the lights. I just everything about it is so great.
You're right. It is. There's not another Armstrong in Canada. Like it is. It's different. It's fun. It's loud. The horse. You can feel your blood's pumping. Your horse's blood's pumping, and it's kind of fun. A perf is fun there. Like
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and the crowd loves it too. Especially all those fans are behind the boxes there, and you can hear
Yeah,
what they're
yeah, and the beer gardens
saying.
is right
So
there.
yeah, it is. So that part we really enjoy too.
Oh yeah, it'll be exciting wrap up to the end of the season. Well, I think that's all I got for you, Caitlin. I really appreciate you again taking the time to chat with me. Looking forward to watching you and Dawson chase the CFR. I know he's sitting 11th, I think, in this Bronc Garden, so he's got a little bit of work to do, but there's lots of money left before the end of the season, and we'll be cheering you guys on.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, and thanks for having me.
Alrighty, this has been episode 39 of the short round. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the short round, everyone. Just want to send a shout out to Caitlyn Dahm again for taking the time to chat with me yesterday. It was really good to sit down with her and just hear her perspective on rodeo and how her and Dawson make their way down the road. It's kind of neat. So thanks again to Caitlyn. All right, Clay, the Cowboy Christmas run, the run through July continues. Over the last few weeks, we've had Benalto, Bassano that was rescheduled and went a few weeks ago. Teepee Creek and Bowden all happened. So there were some big winners come out of it. In the bareback riding, Chet Dietz ended up being our biggest winner of the weekend, picking up the win in TP Creek, his second win in 3 years there. But talk about Chet and his ride on Sleeping Giant.
That Sleeping Giant's just a cool horse. One they definitely want to draw out of Dwayne's pen there, and
Hmm.
and I mean Chet, he's stepped up and really come a long ways here, just in his development and growth as a bareback rider. And yeah, I know you had mentioned before we turned this on, it's the second time in 3 years he's won TP Creek. Likes that arena. It's definitely one of those cool ones that if anybody hasn't been there, you got to get up there. It's such a great rodeo up there, and they just keep building every year. And I mean that TP Creek was definitely kind of the heavyweight rodeo of those 2 weekends there, being a tour rodeo and
Hmm.
everything. But yeah, you want to use that opportunity to really keep pushing, because we can sit here and say, oh, if you don't do anything at Pinoca, your year's toast, and there's no way to look that way. I
No.
mean, we had guys last year that hadn't really got anything solidified until the 1st of August,
Cody
and
Lamb.
Cody Lamb, I know Logan Spady and Cash Bonnet last year, a strong August, but you don't have to wait until then
No, no, no.
to get going.
Make it a lot easier on yourself if you don't, but it's not
Yeah.
impossible.
So getting TP Creek under your belt and going up there, that's a huge win for Chet.
Yeah, they definitely call it 3 or 4 days in a wild, whatever they call it these days for a reason. It's a good time up there, and if you have any places left on your rodeo bucket list, make sure TP Creek's on it. It's a great spot. Okay, looking ahead at the steer wrestling, obviously Scott Gentner, one of the biggest weeks, or whatever you want to call it, over the past little while. He takes the win at TP Creek, placed at another spot down the way, placed it at Bassano. Nice, got the note here, and then obviously that big win down in Calgary has him within striking distance of number one in Canada, which is a typical spot for Scott, but also has him in the top 10 of the world standings after all the dust has settled. So it's going to be an interesting couple months here for Scott.
We talked about him this winter and said, do you think he'll make a run again? And darn it, he's making a liar out of me. So I said, no, I think he's good. I
He
mean,
just
he was,
forces his own hand every time. Like he just keeps
yeah,
winning it. Like last year was the NFR Open. This year he
yeah,
wins Calgary again and having another dominant season in Canada. Like he's giving
yeah.
himself no choice but to chase it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, to pop up to TP Creek in the middle of everything and hit all those other rodeos and win the tour rodeo. I mean, that just goes to show how much I mean, he's still at the top of his game. Him and another guy, I know in the article or the mention there, bought Ty Miller's horse. So adding the horsepower, I mean, he's got no plans of slowing down up here.
No.
That's never been in the cards. And you know, you do well enough in Canada, you make the Calgary Stampede, and you just keep going. I mean, like I'd mentioned earlier, he was a little choked that Pinoca didn't work the way he wanted, but then he still won two of those other rodeos that
Hmm.
weekend. I mean, he doesn't slow down and doesn't give up. And you know, I mean, 2 years ago when he won Calgary, he had to beat 3-4 and throws down a 3-2. So when going in there on Sunday, he only had to beat a 4-1. I was like, well, I don't want to say he's got it in the
Yeah,
bag, but
yeah.
kind of had a good feeling about it and everything. And so it was just a great opportunity there again for him to jump up. Interesting note was this year at Calgary, 80% of the money won throughout the whole week was able to count. So that just even goes that much farther
Mhm.
for him to count it. 2 years ago, only 50% of the showdown counted.
Yeah.
Um, and 70% of the rounds. So I mean it helped, but it still didn't put him right into the mix like it did this year. So
Oh man, it's crazy. And I think I was talking to Barb the other day, and I think when all of it's said and done, everything's added up, he was within like a few dollars of what he made to qualify last year already at this point. So I mean, man, look out for Scott. I have a hypothetical situation to throw at you, Clay. So say Scott makes another NFR and wins another Canadian title this year. After 2025, is it safe to call Scott Genther the GOAT of Canadian steer wrestling?
well, and you know, I kind of got thinking about that the other day too, because I it's hard for me to say that entirely. I mean, you look at Lee Graves.
Hmm.
He's in a
Yeah.
similar vein. And on top of that, Lee's got a world title as well. And one of the most epic NFR to win a world title
Hmm. Hmm.
from there. So it's tough. I mean, Scott's definitely, if you were to say the Mount Rushmore of steer wrestlers, I would say he's on there. I still got to give Lee Graves a ton of
The
credit
edge.
there.
Hmm.
And I mean, you've got Mark Roy with the world title, you got
Hmm.
Blaine Peterson with the world title, but Scott's got a heck of a resume there, and
And he's got
he's
four Canadian titles right now, right, as we speak, right?
yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see him win one, maybe two or three more before he's done.
There's no doubt. I mean, he's got that setup and those performances figured out. I think earlier in his career, and even some of his earlier wins, he'd kind of start the CFR a little slow. Maybe he's
Mm.
still yawning like he does the first round or two, but I mean, he's just gotten to where he knows the drill there, and I think back to a few years ago when you're looking at your greats and stuff. I think that world title still holds a
So
significant
much,
amount,
yeah.
no matter how much weight you put on Canadian titles, and that's not to take anything away from Scott.
No.
That's just to acknowledge the efforts of those
Well,
steer
because
wrestlers.
it's to win this world title, it's not easy. Like, I mean, and it's not saying it's easy in Canada by any means, but it's just like you got to walk both sides of the line. You got to go to 10 rounds of NFR against the best in the world. And it's not an easy feat to do. And again, this is not discrediting a Canadian title by any means because it's not easy as well. You got some great contestants no matter what the event you're in. It's just the NFR is just a little bit, I feel it's a little bit harder to get that your hands on that gold buckle there.
It absolutely is. I mean, it's a 12-month commitment. And
Yeah.
we see
Yeah.
from Scott, I mean, when he's at the rodeo, he is committed, but he's just got a lot of other irons in the
Hmm.
fire. And that's I give him all the props to that.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's
It,
life. And
it makes it almost more a bit more impressive in the sense that like, okay, this guy's maybe 60%ing it when it comes to like how much he's rodeoing. Imagine what he would do. And we've seen it, but it's and this is not again, this is just hypothetical situations, but it's like he's dominant when he's Scott's got that dog in him. And if he were to go a full year chasing both sides, like he'd probably be within striking distance of a world title. And that's not even saying say he qualifies this year. There's so much money there. We saw what happened with like Dean Thompson and stuff like last year. Like you can come from a long ways and win a world title.
oh, there's no doubt. It's basically, I mean, as much as you say you've got to be there for 12 months of the year, you
You
really
don't
just
you,
have to be in that. You just
yeah.
got to get into the yellow shoots,
Yeah,
right? You
it's
got to
changed so much.
back in there and nod your head there because I mean, yeah, a dominant NFR can do it.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, maybe this conversation looks a whole world different if he comes in 15th and
Oh man,
suddenly leaves Vegas with it.
where
And
people are gonna be calling us that we look like dummies.
hey, you know
That's fine.
what?
That's what we want. Yeah.
That's I will not feel wrong about saying that. That's not betting against somebody. I
No,
mean,
no.
making a bold prediction and having it come through is never a bad thing, especially a rodeo in Vegas. Maybe before anybody else does, we should go talk to some bookies, but
Yeah.
put a little money on that just so we can say it. I still think I should have put that money on Kyle Lucas making the NFR when we talked about it in December,
Yeah, it's true. Hell yeah. No, it's good.
but
So, anyways, yeah, we'll move on, but it's just exciting to see that someone can have so much success like Scott, and when he's semi-retired. I know he's probably getting tired of hearing that, but it's
I
amazing
think
to
he
see.
has to be.
Yeah, I think, but it's just definitely super, like really exciting. All right, looking at team roping, Trey Galley, Logan Spady, our reigning Canadian all-around champion. They had a great weekend, placing in Benalto and Bassano, and things are looking good for Logan to pick up his second straight Canadian all-around title.
No doubt. I mean, not just placing, but win both of those rodeos, and so yeah, that was a tremendous weekend for them. And even though they didn't place in TP Creek, still make more money than anybody over those last two weekends, and just roping real well together. I mean, Trey Galley, there's the Galley name is synonymous with team roping. I mean,
Mhm.
Art and his dad and his uncle there, they just have done so much for the sport at the jackpot level, at the rodeo level, and had so much success. The Spady name, obviously, again, generations of cowboys, ranchers, and rodeo contestants there that just know how to compete. And yeah, Logan, I know again he's roping with a different partner this year just because priorities changed for him and Cash. He was wanting to set up a home place and get things going there and training some more horses, but rodeo's still a priority. Horses sell a little better when you're still winning, so he's having a good year and doing really good. And props to his brother Evan for having a really good showing in Pinoca there
Mhm.
too. I always thought Evan's a good, quiet kid. Um, goes about his business a little quieter than maybe Logan does, but gets the job done down there.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to see. Okay, looking at the saddle bronc riding, this fellow was the feature in our most recent news release on the Pro Rodeo Canada website. But Dawson, and we interviewed his wife today too, so that's exciting. But Dawson Dahm has had a big weekend as well. He won, oh my gosh, I'm blanking. He won Benalto, and then he won Bassano, and then he placed, or he won Bowden, placed Bassano. Sorry. But anyways, big weekend for Doss. He's currently 11th in the standings, but we'll be looking to keep that momentum rolling.
And Dawson was a guy that, and I think I've spoke about this before on the podcast, who calf roper turned bronc rider almost just by mistake. Kid that I had saw even before he started doing it was traveling with bronc riders and had the look. You just one of those guys that then they needed a novice competitor to fill out the
Hmm.
LRA finals and get him in there, and he wins it over Dawson Hay that year, and
Yep.
just a hand, a guy that really rides well. That again has kind of slid under the radar. I mean, we've
Hmm.
just got so many tremendous bronc riders these days that it's just not easy to always steal the spotlight. But he just looked at it and said, I got to get things rolling, and two big wins there. Any win's a good win for
Hmm.
a contestant in that bronc riding, and just a great showing for him. And I doubt we're gonna hear the end of that yet. I mean, there'll be more coming.
No, it'll be great to see him and Caitlyn both in the arena at the CFR 51 down at Rogers Place. But yeah, with all the Bronx matches and everything coming up over the next few weeks, it's gonna be really exciting to see who ends up rounding out that top 12 in the Canadian standings. All right, tie down roping. Austin Hines, our big winner from the weekend, 3,600 bucks, just over that from TP Creek and Bassano. Austin's having putting together a great year. I'm just looking at the tie down roping standings, and we've already got one, two, three, four, five, six tie down ropers with over 20,001 on the season, and a few more behind, kind of knocking on that door. Um, it's amazing to see the money out there, money available. It's gonna be awesome to see the final tallies once we get to the CFR, what it takes to make it, because it used to be that $20,000 threshold. But talk about a bit about Austin first, and we'll get into that, Clay.
Austin Hines there, I mean, he's really established himself as a tough competitor up here. I mean, really come
Mhm.
along as one of those guys that he's not just nibbling along the edges. He's going to jump out there and have a real good showing. And so it's great to see that. But yeah, the money that it takes for those guys, it's tough. I mean, you see these Americans that are coming up here and they're still having their big Pinokas and everything like that. But
Mhm.
I mean, you look at this, it's tough up here, and it's a lot of these young Canadian kids that have had to establish themselves against those toughs, and it's either rope up or pack up. And so you see the Kyle Lucas Logan Bird tandem at the top, but then you see the Strand Dunham and Jason Smith and Austin Hines there. I mean, those guys are tough. And Clayton Smith, I mean, that's Austin's brother-in-law there,
Mhm.
had a tremendous Pinoca there. I watched a few of his runs, and I mean, he just roped so well. I think you look at guys that rope like those American guys. I
Mhm.
think that handle their slack, that do all the things right, and compete against those guys, not just enter. I think he's in there too, and I mean that's not even getting to Bo Cooper
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Shane Smith, and I mean you've got some tough competitors there, and it's not easy to make that much money, and like you say, 20 grand isn't anything anymore. That doesn't guarantee you anything in any of
Mhm.
these events. So, but yeah, Austin definitely that TP Creek win helps him get closer to where he wants to be, which is back at the CFR.
Oh man, yeah, it's awesome, awesome to see, and I think, like you say, having those tough Americans and even like how more competitive our Canadian crew's getting, it just elevates the game for everyone, and it's really great to see. All right, barrel racing, Clay, our reigning Canadian champion, current number one in Canada, Taylor Manning, picks up another nearly $4,000 from placing at Benalto Pisano TP Creek. I feel like Taylor has her sights on going back to back for another Canadian title.
Oh yeah, I have no doubt she's not taking their foot off the pedal at all. I
Hmm.
mean, she's just such a hand. I mean, so skilled with those horses and just yeah, her parents there. I mean, they invested in those kids. They made sure that they learned the right way,
Hmm.
had the right horses coming up and just get to those rodeos, learn the way. I mean, Jay and Shelly, they've done a tremendous job, and Taylor is just taken off and run with her career. I mean, she had a great showing here. Anywhere she goes, you
Hmm.
just know that she's bringing a horse that she's going to do well on, and we're going to just keep hearing her name. If not at the top, in the fight till the end.
Oh yeah, and she's always a threat to be in the mix and be a winner. So good to see Taylor keeping the momentum going. Breakaway Open, Brady Whiteside, who's I guess she'd be the reigning Canadian women's all-around champion. I think she's done that back-to-back years now. But another great weekend for her on the Breakaway Open side of things. Picking up just over 3,100 bucks between Benalto and TP Creek. But yeah, just talk about Brady for a second, Clay.
And, kind of carrying on from what I was saying about Taylor's parents, Brady, obviously her parents, they invested in those kids as well,
Hmm.
and just developed such a well-rounded uh, horsemanship ability and just rodeo competitor mentality. I mean, Travis now playing a bigger role with the CPRA, with the pro rodeo scene and everything like that. And a big part of that is he might as well be there since the girls are doing so much and
Yeah.
so much. And yeah, I mean, the breakaway rope is so great on top of everything, but to see a competitor that is doing it on both ends, it's inspiring to see, and I think inspiring some competitors. I think you compare, I mean, it's that all around in the ladies event isn't going to be easy these days.
No.
Yeah, Taylor Cherry had just an outstanding Pinoca in both events, and so I think you're going to see those girls that are really going to start showing up on both ends. But I mean, yeah, that breakaway open, she was 1-8 to win Benalto and making good money and fighting tough there for this season.
Oh yeah, it's not easy. I was talking about this with Caitlyn, how it seemed like last year we were seeing so many ties like with the 2 5s, 2 6s, but now it's gotten even like a step faster. So it's really exciting to watch Breakaway Open right now, and I feel like it's in a great spot. All right, one more event here going for us, Clay. We got the bull riding. Looking at who was our big money winner from the past couple weeks, Core of Grand Prairie, $3,600. He's a new young rookie on the scene, but he rides dang good.
And that core family name there is synonymous with Northern Alberta rodeo. I mean, his dad, Danny Core, there was a mainstay in the NRA scene over the years.
Mhm.
And like you were saying, I mean, this young guy is riding good, and we're not going to hear the end of his name here yet. I mean, this is kind of that step up. You
Mhm.
win TP Creek. That's a great feeling for a guy from that area.
Yeah.
And I mean, you know that's gonna just keep rolling and keep things going for him.
Yeah, and it's gonna give him a nice boost in the standings. And we kind of talked about it on the top part of the show. It's kind of a mucky middle in the bull riding, basically from top to bottom. It'll be interesting to see who kind of separates themselves from the pack as we head into the last couple months of the season or last month and a half of the season here. So we'll be keeping an eye on that for sure. All right, Clay, before I let you go and we wrap this one up this week, I want to put you on the spot with a question. I know, like I briefly mentioned, it used to be the cutoff spot to make the CFR. A safe amount of money one was 20,000. We are now seeing that's out the door. What do you think is going to be a safe amount of money to win in say any event to get into to guarantee your CFR spot?
Well, I think, and it was interesting with the CFR being so much earlier. Denny Phipps and I were talking the other day about uh, what it takes to get everything ready in that short window, and trying to figure out, okay, when does a person actually have it made? When can you order their coat?
Hmm.
And that's Danny and Danny just spoke about how, I mean, it's easier to order a big bunch that kind of have it made. He mentioned a couple of guys he might already order them next week, but I think, yeah, you definitely want to have that 25. I think, to be sure.
Like it's like
It's
say even like heading into the tour finale or that final weekend, like 'cause you have tour finale, you have a big weekend for the rough stock and barrel racing in Langley, and then Merritt is kind of your last crack to make it. So I mean, heading into that weekend, what amount do you think you need to have your safe spot?
I just threw out the number 25, but now I scrolled to the ladies barrel racing, and I mean, right now, ninth has 20,000 added.
Hmm.
So even in that, I wouldn't even go that far. It's a, yeah, I mean, I mean, to feel comfortable and confident going into that weekend, I'd want to have 30.
Hmm. Hmm.
Just to be sure. If I mean, I know, again, the one CFR that I qualified for, I think I had 13-1 after Panoka or after TP Creek weekend, and I then got hurt and was trying to limp my way in there. The next little while was lean, and I just got a little check out of McCord that guaranteed it, and I made it with 15, but it's a whole different world now. So yeah, I'd probably say double that
Yeah,
at
it's
30
crazy. It's wild.
is a comfortable feeling.
What's okay? One last thing, Clay. So you mentioned that how it's like 15 guaranteed your spot back when you made it, but how cool is it from your perspective to see the progression in the amount of money that's available out there now, and just in Canada alone?
Oh, it's awesome. And it's at the same time, I've heard people say, "Oh, you know what? I don't understand why this rodeo hasn't added more or this one." We're seeing the bigger rodeos that are doing things right. They're putting their money back into the prize money, which is
Hmm.
great. I'm never going to tell a little rodeo committee they got to add more, because I've been on those committees. Know that that's all they can do. They're doing their best, and everything like that. But no, it's just so great to see pro rodeo where it's at, and seeing the level of competitors that Canada is putting out to meet that need. I mean, really, we came out of COVID and with very little reliance on that American
Hmm.
contingent to
100%.
really make things happen. Whereas, and this isn't to knock the competitors of my age or years, but we had a lot of those Americans that really made it tough we're kind of filling out those finals as
Mhm.
we're not seeing that as much of a reliance. Do they still come up here and know what they're doing? Absolutely, but so are everybody else up here.
Yeah,
So
it's fun to watch. It's really exciting, and it's kind of the same theme as we had last summer. It's going to be a really exciting finish and push here to the tour finale in the final weekend of the season. But we'll see how everything shakes out here over the next few weeks.
you bet. And one other thing I was gonna note for the novice, I gotta give props to Clay Greenslade there. He's a two event novice bareback and novice saddle bronc competitor. He won both events last year at Lacrete, and but had been primarily focusing just on his bronc riding. But he's been entering both of those at these CPRA rodeos. I saw Airdrie, he was 77 and a half in both events to win both of those.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
we see won the novice bronc riding at Benalto and won Cadogan in the bronc riding, and just a young kid that's really rodeoing hard and doing some really good things. So I just wanted to give him a shout out
Hmm.
because those young guys they're going up and down that'll fill these chutes for years to come. They
Yeah.
deserve that credit too.
Yeah, 100%. It was, and he made a like probably one of the best novice bareback rides I've seen in a long time. I think he was 85 and a half or 84 and a half points in Calgary. Not an easy horse, and just kind of sat up there like he's been doing it for a long time, which he has. And it's good to watch. And I think, like you say, the next generation is in good hands. But with that, Clay, we'll leave it there. We'll catch up next time, and thanks for the time, dude.
You bet. Take care.
Alrighty, this has been episode 39 of the short round. We'll catch you all down the road.